Hey guys, super fun puzzle for you today from 1881. I really enjoyed this one as I was looking at it, and I think you guys are going to as well. Before I say anything else, it's white to play and win. Black's pawns are going down the board in this direction. What do you think the winning move is for white? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move is knight to e4. And before I talk about why we need to play knight to e4, just want to mention this obvious move here of rook to b1 check. So this looks like a very natural move. You check the king, only place really to go is here. And some of you probably noticed that you could follow up with knight to e4 check, which actually forces the king up here, and then you can grab the rook for free, which looks pretty good, right? If you stopped calculating there, you would have missed black's follow-up. I'll give you a chance to pause. Do you see what black can play now to actually win the game? Get a chance to look at that. It's the move h2. Very, very nasty move here because now they're about to take our rook. And even if we try to move the rook away, they're just going to get a queen. And even though we take it, they get another queen and we lose. Okay, so this idea of these two pawns pushing down and becoming a queen is very dangerous. You have to keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this puzzle. Okay, so that's why the obvious kind of rook to b1 check doesn't really cut it. So the winning move in this position is knight to e4. Now, why would we want to go knight to e4? Well, if you look carefully at black's king, we now have it cut off from moving up, which means rook to b1 check at this point would simply be checkmate. So for example, black tries to push and get a queen, they're going to lose, right? They have to block and it's just game over. Okay, that's kind of the idea. So what does black do instead? Well, they'd say, okay, let me proactively kind of block that to give myself time to do something else. Okay, so the bishop comes back. White to play and win. You got a chance to look at that. It's rook to b1 now. And kind of going with the theme of we're going to continue to threaten checkmate here and see how black is going to respond. And really the only way they can respond is by moving the king over to defend the bishop. You can't run this way because it's still checkmate, right? Notice that the knight is here in your own pawn if you're black. You can't do that. You don't have time to bring the rook into the game or to push these pawns. And so the only move is to move your king over, defend the bishop. And now it's white to play and win. What move should you play here? You had a chance to look at that. The move is knight to f2 check. And I'm going to bet some of you thought it was knight to c3, but you need to remember what we already talked about, right? Knight to c3 check looks pretty good because it forces the king over. And then you can grab the bishop with check. And then even here, you can force the king away with check and grab the rook. But remember, exactly what we saw earlier, even though the bishop is now gone, it's the same idea, okay? Black is going to play h2. The rook is now, you have to move it or lose it or whatever, and eventually the same thing. They're going to get a queen. You can't really do anything about it, okay? So same kind of little trick there if you mistakenly said knight to c3. Now let's see. What's the difference here about knight to f2? Well, again, the king has to move. It goes over here. And now it's white to play and win. What's the winning move here? You had a chance to look at that. The move is knight takes g4, just grabbing a pawn. Remember, the pawns are going this way, so that's not going to cost us our knight. But you might say, well, how do we have time to do that? Isn't black going to start doing some stuff? Well, actually, when we play knight takes g4, we are again threatening checkmate because our knight is still controlling the square, right? So again, we've renewed the checkmate threat, but at the same time, we captured this pawn on g4. And you might not think that that pawn on g4 really matters, but actually it does. And you're going to see why in just a few moments here. So black says, okay, only thing I can do to not get checkmated is defend my bishop again. King to d1. And now it's white to play and win. What should you play? If you had a chance to look at that, the move is again knight to f2 check. And again, you could have been tempted to say knight to e3 check. But again, we're going to have the same kind of thing. If we take here, they go here. We try to win their rook with the knight check. They move somewhere, captures. But again, what's going to happen? H2 would lead to a draw. Black can actually win the game if they play king takes the knight. So if they go here, we're going to simply sacrifice. The game is a draw, okay? But if they play king takes our knight, we don't actually have time to get our king over to help. They're going to come up, and we just lose. Because next move, it doesn't really matter. They're going to push the pawn, and we can't win. Okay, so again, there was that same kind of trick of like, if you didn't play the right move, you could just lose. So going back here, the correct move is knight to f2 check. Of course, black only has one move to go here. And again, it's white to play and win. What's the winning move? You had a chance to look at that. It's knight takes h3. And now you can see the significance of taking that pawn on g4, because now that pawn on g4 is gone, we can actually take the pawn on h3. So slowly but surely just picking away at these pawns and again renewing the checkmate threat. So black doesn't have time to move the rook and try to, do something there because it's simply checkmate. So again, black is obligated to play king to d1 to defend the bishop to avoid the checkmate. And now how do we finish off the game? Get a chance to look at that. We simply take the rook because now it's just a free rook and black doesn't have any more pawn to push here. We don't have any problems with that. They have to move here. We can simply take here with check, and this is going to be a win. We have a lot of pieces against just the pawn. As an example of how the game could go from here, you can move your king up, bring it over, and black can try to run in the corner. But there's a nice little checkmate in 2 from this position. White to play and win. Mate in 2. See if you can find it. You had a chance to look at that. This was a very easy one because there's multiple checkmates in 2. You could bring the rook really, anywhere up here and over would also do it. But the one that I was hoping you would find is knight to f3 check. They have to block with the queen, and then you simply take with the rook. This, in my opinion, is the coolest way to do it. So really nice puzzle there. I had a lot of fun with that one. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. As a reminder, courses are on sale for Black Friday through the end of the month. 50% off. You just have to use the code SAVE50 at checkout. Links in the description. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.